stream, everybody. Let's see if we can add some text and fonts. Shout out to the chat or to anybody joining the next day or even weeks and months later. Welcome all. So we're just getting set up. I'm excited because one, I'm coding, I get to talk to you guys, and two, I just booked a little trip away for next week. It's a bit loud. Let's sort it out. Sweet. If there's any issues with microphone levels, just let me know. Okay, let's go in to the engine. And we're loading. Okay, I've got an error. That's my antivirus is on. Doesn't like exe files. Pretty standard for the first run. Let's turn it off now. Goodbye AVG, AVS. Here we are. And a nice little reposition. Yeah, how's that? Okay. Actually, I noticed the sky is moving too fast. Let's have a look. So we're just going to see if the fog's still working, just see if the engine's stable. I did a little bit of code earlier just to look at how I'm going to get text and fonts working. And to test it, we need some mountains. You know what I don't like? But don't mind me. Okay, fog. So if you was watching the last few days, you would have remembered the fog tools that we put in and the weather. It was repeating, it was drawing it 4 times because we draw the scene 4 times and it was rendering some of the tools multiple times. So I fixed that. And we also got the ability to change the color of the fog. I did that yesterday. And then you just tweak where it starts and where it ends. So it should end a bit closer. For a basic fog, I'm happy with that. You'll find as the quality of the world is better, the terrain looks more realistic, the fog will seem as though it's got better. The effect will be richer. You'll find as the quality of the world is better, the terrain. Okay, so we're going to jump now into fonts. So Code Imposter is the YouTube channel. Let me link him in the chat. So check him out, and if you enjoy this is your kind of thing, definitely give him a follow as well. And give him a like, it helps the algorithms for both of our channels. Okay, let's get to the code. Here we are. Nope. Okay, so this is just an error check on a little library on the link I've just provided. Just check it's set up okay. I'm gonna finish going through his tutorial. But I think we should have some fonts in the next 20 minutes or so. Okay. So what we need is create a text object. Let's see if it's working. And why is text object not working? Come on, Homer. Text font glyphs, maybe. Is it included? No. Okay, so yeah, it's working now because it's asking for, it's saying the constructor is not valid, which it means there is a constructor. And so we're creating a text object, give it a name. And first we have to pass a reference to the free type library, which is called free type. And then it wants the window width and the window height, and then it wants the whole alphabet. That's curious. So you pass it every character that you're going to use, including the space. That might be everything. No, it's not everything. Yeah, it is. Okay, and then... Okay, so that sets up a text object, but called... What did we call it? Text. So the way it's going to work is for every different type of text, if you've got two different fonts, or the same font but a different size, you will need a different text object. Sorry, that's my water. And then I think you can start to define. Yeah, you can start to use it basically. Create text message. What does it need? It wants the message. Okay, I'm going to use my reference here. So for those just joining, you can see the engine at the bottom right of the screen, hopefully. That's the preview, but I'm now adding the ability for text and 3D text in the engine. So if you're killing bad guys, if it was a game, you might have little points coming above the head to show the XP, the experience, and the damage you're doing. Adding text to the... I called it the Barcelona engine, but I've changed the name because I'm going to Seville next week. So the engine's changed its name because I don't have a name. Okay, and then it's the... So you can't see the IntelliSense, but on my screen it's telling me what parameters I need next. And it's the... So where we're going to, from the top left of the OpenGL window, where we're going to place the text. So we would just say 400 by 400. The path to the font. Oh, that's going to be the annoying thing. But I think I have the same, and then it was Arial. I don't know what kind of font Arial is. True type. Yeah. And then what does it want? Font size. Dynamic static, I don't know what that parameter is or what it does. Okay, let's just see if it still runs and compiles. Why is it going so slow on my side? Oh, because it couldn't find the font. And that's okay, I'm just going to put the font in every folder. It's always the best thing to do. If you've only got like 3 or 4 working folders for your project. And then you can, when you package it all together, you can look at those things. So it hadn't slowed down, it was just froze on the error. Oh dear, is that another one? Couldn't open text fonts. I know why. So now change the folder. Arial, is it spelled right? I mean, who knows? Actually, it's lowercase. Emails aren't case sensitive. I don't think file names can be. No, maybe they can actually. Does anyone know? Okay, it worked. That's my kind of error though. I don't like it when there's an error and you miss what it's saying on the console. So then you think it's working. Okay. So let's keep going. So, by the way, this final parameter, I'm just reading, is whether or not the text message, what you've typed and what you want on the screen is going to, whether it's likely to change or not. Sometimes you might not know. But if it's going to be like you're walking through a town and the name of the town appears on big, like a welcome, like an introduction to a chapter of, or the start of a movie, then it's not going to change, it'll be false. And it will be about managing resources and efficiency. It will probably create a different type of object in each case. Excuse me. I'm just looking at the constructor, how it works. I'll put the link in as well into the chat. Let me just say hi to Twitch. Say hi to Twitch. Okay, I'm going to keep going. Trying to establish how he's sending it to the shader, if he's got a custom shader in this little API. So what we need to do now is set up 2 new shaders for the texts. Add new item. Let me just call it shader text.vert. Going to give us what we need, yes. Add new item. Shader text dot frag, yeah. But it just give us pragma once. Because it thought it was a header file. Okay, so let us we'll start with the vert. So the version of OpenGL, and we are just passing in 0. Vertex. Am I happy with that? Layout location 0. In, coming from the C++ side, and the code, the CPU. View matrix. Projection matrix. Animate, so that's going to probably be rotating the text on the screen if you want to do some effect with it. Yeah, that might be the model normally. The model matrix, that is. Okay, and then out is a vector of 2. Texture code, all the inits. I could just copy and paste this, but I've not written a shader from the start for a few months. Texture coordinates, animate. And I think these aren't really used, or at least they animate unless we turn it on. Okay, void mean. By the way, I've never seen this, so it's probably not necessary, I'm going to guess, but it's what he's done. This is interesting. Same as using Z and W. Vertex dot. So I don't know why he's made that complex then. So we pass in the vertex, which is a vector of 4. So you access it by typing vertex, and you've got the vertex dot X, Y, and Z, and W. Or if you don't do that, it implies all 4. But he's also indexing them. I don't know why. I believe it's the same thing, but a different approach. And maybe it's just better coding, there's nothing wrong with that. subscribe, homies, or say hi in the chat. Don't be shy. By the way, it's nearly 2 AM here, so I need someone to chat to keep me coding. Okay, let's just keep going. So the rest is optional, as you can see with the comments, but I'm gonna copy them in now. And then let's go for the fragment shader. So we're again, so this is 4.20 core profile for OpenGL. Uniform Vec 3. Font color, so he's British, just like me. Although I don't like that because I've been spelling color the other way. Sampler 2D, so this is when you send your texture, which will be the letters of the fonts. And I think because this is not my shader, it's quite simple. I'm going to copy and paste the rest. Because if there's an error when I compile it, Visual Studio won't tell us which line it is because it's a shader and not a CPU language. So that's a bit smarter. Okay, so let's keep going. We've got some shaders set up. Okay, I don't think we're far away now from getting an actual message on screen. Okay, so I need to compile and link the shaders. Where have I used shaders? I have a shader class. See where I call this. Custom shader. Oh. No. Maybe this. Nope. So the custom shader is something I have in the engine where when the game engine is actually running, instead of typing shader code in Visual Studio, you can type it in the window, the IMG UI. I'm pretty sure that's what that is. I've just not used it for so long, so I forgot. I do have another actual shader class. I'm going the slow way to make sure. Yeah, you can see here, look, this is where you're choosing which custom shader that you want to use within a loop. So it's probably just called shader, I'm pretty sure. Set uniform. So if I look for set uniform, you can see where I'm using this class. Grid shader. Yep, so grid shader is the one. There it is. No, it's pretty simple. It's a shader. And we send the paths in the constructor. Forgive me, I've not used that function, that class for a long time. As you can see. So we need a texture shader. So the best place will be, we'll create it here, right? A shader. And I'll go with the same name that Homie used, because otherwise I'm gonna be using his code and having to remember this and that. Okay. Vertex path. So it'll just be shader text.vert and then shader text.frag. So then we should just have access to different objects, so to bind or to use a shader. The shader is what does the graphics on a given graphic. So we'll activate it when we want to use text. Excuse me. But we can go here and we can see if there's any compile errors, I believe. Let's just see if there's any error handling. So where's the constructor? Here. Yeah, so if the file doesn't open, it will tell us. So let's see if there's an error. If it doesn't open, if it doesn't compile. Which I won't be surprised if there's at least an error. Because the first one I just copied, I typed manually. We're just loading. Okay, let's have a look. And then what you want, so apparently I've got no errors. So what I will do now, I don't think you can see it. Now I will, let's just, let's just forget a semicolon there. And let's forget a semicolon there. So now we should get 2 errors, and if we don't get 2 errors, when we know there's 2, we still know it's not working. So let's just see if we get those 2 errors. Beautiful. Okay, so on my screen I have linking failed with the fragment shader and linking failed with, is there another one? Yeah. Got an error for the vertex shader and for the fragment shader. So now I'll change that back and we know both shaders are compiling. Let's fix that. And what I do have within the game engine, I have a debug window that would bring that up, but I've currently paused shader bugs, so I'd have to turn it on and then restart. It'll just be slower. And the next step is just to turn the shader on. But why do we want to use a shader just yet? Okay, it looks like he's turning the shader on. Where did we do it? Before, so shader. I think that just turns the program on, the use program. Yeah. So we're using that ID. What's the log? So this was what I was referring to, my custom log. It would just say we're now using this shader. It will also put it in the console, the DOS style console. But I don't know why it's using it just yet. And it's checking for errors, and it creates 2 text objects. What's wrong here? I guess it's not a pointer, but I've used that method before. For a matrix, FV. Camera position is a vec3. Maybe I'm missing an argument. What did he do? looks okay at a glance. I don't know what's gone wrong there. That should give the same error, right? RGB is undefined, but it's not. I don't know if the constructor's wrong on a vec3. Let's find out. No, that's fine. Might be the parameters. Count is 1. Hey man, welcome. This was the first time and the longest time I've streamed and there's not been a message in chat. Like, it's so strange. I don't know what happened. I hope you know your pointers and GLM library, because I have a simple bug. Alex N. Feels like an English name. Have I had you here before, mate? Sometimes I like a particular bug. This one makes no sense. If you guys can see the text okay, by the way. Just make it bigger. Enough, maybe too big, but it's better than too small. Okay, so a vector3 is it's 3 numbers. So like on a 3D grid, you'll have the x-axis, the y, and the z. A place in 3D space where you'd put the text. So I'm calling it. Well, this might be color with the looks of it, but it could be used for both, for sure. And this is the location. That's wrong. Of this piece of data within the shader. So we're going to send something to this location on the graphics card. Font color. So when we get the location, we put it all in a little function. We say send to this location on the graphics card this bit of this reference, this information. I'm just going to screenshot that to ChatGPT, because I've done the exact same thing a little bit further down and it just didn't work. Where are you guys from? So it thinks, I thought this, but I think I am including this. Yeah, the type pointer. I am including that. Alex N from New York. Welcome, brother. I'm assuming male with Alex, but could be wrong. New York, so it's 9 p.m. there. 8, 7, 10, I don't know. Oh wait, I wonder if it needs... Does it need... It just doesn't recognize RGB. Wait, have I missed a semicolon? No. Have I missed a bracket? Strange. Let me go back to the source code. Does it need something else? No, just 3 parameters. What if we just initialize it like that, and then that? Interesting. It was a constructor. No, that's not broke. How can it be the constructor? Maybe it's the Fs. So that works, right? Too few arguments in call. Let's just send one bit. No, strange. Undeclared identifier. It might be this. I think we're popping, yeah. I don't think you can initialize how he was trying to initialize. Okay, let's see if we've got any errors. Nope, it's all loaded nicely. Show. Okay, progress. I appreciate the like and the subscribe. So what did I call it? Text. Text object 1. I might need to call the shader again here. For the text, I probably do, to be fair. It should be, what did I call it? Text shader. Let's find out. Oh wait, no, I think we got it here. Yeah, look, there's something here that's not working, but that will be it, I'm gonna guess. Yeah, so that should be letters. It's just not properly done. But it looks like we have just trying to draw to the screen. Text and characters. Let's get rid of the sky and the grid. I don't know why it's giving it a 3D sort of. Oh, maybe it's on the wrong shader. So, what was the shader called? Text shader here. So it might just be drawing it on maybe the default shader, which is why it's not having any. It's not got the texture sampler because the name doesn't match. And on that note, I need to do a little more tweaking. So this might be a slightly different error or the same. Hey Matthew. Was I watching you yesterday? No, I wasn't. No. I was watching somebody streaming yesterday at like 1 AM and they was making. It was very. Oh, there we go. There we go. We got some text popping. So I've been coding this on and off for a year, but it's only like, I think it only represents 4 months' work. But that's the first time I've actually got text. It already just feels like it could be a game. So if anybody's working on anything, I've posted a link at the top of the chat to the engine and to the channel that has a tutorial on bringing text in. Let me just load a few things up. So I do recommend that tutorial. It's just a 2 hours work. Get rid of the grid. And the engine is made from scratch, yeah. But this the text part is, I just went through a tutorial and there was an API provided. So I'll say some tools if anybody doesn't know what that means, but some tools provided that just make it a bit quicker. Yeah. I mean, I use all the tools available, but I think no matter what you're using to kind of help you along, if it's a game engine, then like you can't cheat really. You can obviously use the tools available, which are a lot better, but yeah, you're gonna need elbow grease at some point. So I was working yesterday. The latest feature was fog. So yesterday I was excited about fog. Why wouldn't you be? But today it's text. Why does it? So my custom text was adding text to the Seville engine, but then why did it? Draw alphabets. Okay. So I'll take that off. So draw my message, and I don't know if 0 just means the given message, the first one. Hey man, I'd love you to subscribe if it's your kind of thing. To anybody that hears this, I'm 40, I think I'm 50 subscribers away from getting the first level of YouTube partnership, which means I can create like a member page, do exclusive content. People can send me money for a coffee when I'm streaming live. You can send me money for 100 coffees. You might get free coffees a month. I've been trying to learn this stuff. Coded an MMO server and see. That's cool. Actually, so this is my second project. My first project was a 2D MMO with a bit of a server in. Now, I don't know if you mean that you coded an MMO server like I did, which it was a 2D simulation of my city in England. I drew the city. I'm going to link you because it's not on this channel. But within that, I just made it so the clients could connect. So you might have 10 people walking around the center, and there was Starbucks, the coffee shop, and there was other things that anyone from the UK would recognize, and maybe the States. But it looked like rough. But I coded a synchronized little server. But then I played it locally with like 10 people. 10 of me. I had 10 instances running. But that was my first project. But then, because I don't know if I got stuck. My code was very messy, but because I was really enjoying it and learning a lot, I thought I need to go 3D. So this was the second project. That's it there. But sometimes it sounds better than it was. Okay, so the beauty of this is I've got the text working, but now I can create some tools. So instead of on the code that you see on the left, no, you can't see it. But yeah, instead of doing it here, you can start to create some tools so we can make text dynamically in game in real time, and then maybe save text to file. Also, you can see this is just 2 dimensions. It's just on the screen, but I like that. So what other functions does he have? Draw alphabets, draw messages, create text message, I've done. Process, text, index. Let's go see what this function does. Oh, okay, it's just it's all the little messages. A vector. Likewise, so tell us a bit more. It's funny how many people like to do the whole MMO. Let's pin that on there. It was my first project and everyone was like, you can't do it, you can't do it. Because they failed as well. No, so this is, I can see why you would think that. This is a wrapper for text, so fonts. So let's have a look. So the free type library, I guess, is what it's come from. Yeah, the free type library. Yeah, everyone says it's impossible. And by the way, I think people saying that are probably out of date. I mean, okay, you can argue it is, and we could argue it is, but technology has just changed very quickly in the last 3 years. Even AI can do your animation or your artwork, your 3D artwork. I don't know if you've seen, you probably know. It can save you a lot of time. I think AI has made one person into at least 3 people now, at least 2 or 3 people as far as speed. I think if you had 3 or 4 real people, you could really create a nice project now. Just with the tools that are coming out. Yeah, I hear that. I'm not an artist. I think I could create like a sort of generic. I can use Blender a little bit. So where are you at now then? And can you give any feedback on C++ versus C#? Yeah, the network game. It was fun. There's some of those videos on there are very different. Yeah, like people say, why am I doing this? You can use an engine. I don't know if it's just the back end, but I love implementing a new feature. Like, just a little excitement. Now I've just got some fonts. I've got some text in. But there's no way. I don't think I've implemented that fully. I know it worked, but I just think. But yeah, just to show you, this is how the wrapper is like a wrapper class. You create your object, and then you give it an alphabet, so then it can reference each of these. And this is what's so strange with having text in 3D in a space. Like you build it from scratch. But this is why I linked the guy, just to give him the credit. And then with your object, you just choose your message and where it's going to be, and your font, and the font size. And I guess the color is going to be in the shader. I think that's what he was saying. Yeah, here's the color. So now what my job is going to be is just to make some user interface that will just affect the color, custom color, your custom message, your location, and then this wrapper has the ability to make it in 3D space as well. So not just flat on the screen, but world objects. Okay, let's make a few more messages. So I think the way it's set up is if you don't change the font and you don't change the size of the font, you can just drop another message. And I guess it should just render it. How long was you working on the project for? What I need to do now is I just remembered that when he was drawing it, is that to say draw message 0? I don't think so. I think it's just calling to draw them all, but let's just check. Message index. I think that's just going to draw 1. Although there was a parent in... Yeah, I think that just draws 1. You mean the cyberpunk theme? Yeah, it's just drawn the 1. This guy who I've got the tutorial from, he's just done some things in code that are very easy, but he's done them very different to how I do and to how I've seen other people do. I think he's like a obscure genius. Or maybe it's really old styles. Okay, so why wouldn't he have a function that just draws every bit of text instead of calling them individually? I guess it's not that difficult to change. But there it is. So I guess what I need is I want to go to bed, but before I go to bed, I think I'm going to make a user interface. We can type our own text in, we can type the name of a font in, and then we can draw it. Or maybe I'll just sleep halfway through that. What happens when I hide? It's all there. I think I chose the worst font color. The terrain, appreciate the subscriber by the way, is, so this is my terrain engine. I call it the terrain engine. Now this is going to be messy because there was quite a few iterations and it was the first bit of 3D I did really, beyond the triangle and the cube. Generate. Let's have a look at. So I did like a noise generation. No, it was yeah, a noise generation to generate a height maps. I'll show you it. I think if I show you in practice as well. But a height map that then just gets sort of squared onto a grid. But you're just choosing your size, 128 by 128, then the size of the mountains, how many mountains, export. But these are all, I guess they're all just kind of tools, and the terrain was just a starting point. I mean, you don't necessarily need terrain in a game, you need some sort of reference, but not terrain necessarily. That's just too frequent, so I can drop the frequency and drop the height a bit. If I increase the octaves, this is another layer of noise, so there'll be detail upon the detail upon the detail. I think if you go beyond 8 layers, you can't really tell. That's just an ugly colour. But I will just give you a close-up. Let me take that grid off. And also there's just a few different textures being blended. Don't look at my bug that's rendering the UI 4 times there. That's an easy fix, I don't know why I didn't. Okay, so I've just switched my texture just to a higher quality bit of grass. Yeah, although I think... So there's two effects you have on water. One is... So the water you've seen underneath, that's actually just a... You probably know, maybe you know. But that's just an illusion. So yeah, I'm reflecting the underneath onto this texture. And the top should be reflecting as well. Basically the reflection. So we have ripples, but not a reflection. But actually the reflection is in the engine. And then... I moved on to the next thing, and then 2 months later I just noticed the reflection's gone, so the code is there and apparently I've broken it. I'm sure it's just a 1 hour fix, but I've just not got back. Let's make it brighter. Drop the height of the mountain somewhat. But I'll show you let me show everybody the function, the formula. So, or frequency. Okay, so here's a bit of code. Okay, so we're generating a height map. And if I go to... So these are the tools that you've just seen on screen. So to slide the number of octaves between 1 and 20. As we're seeing here. And then persistence. I think if you remove persistence, let's have a look, and then refresh. You get... Now that's ugly, you might want that in a certain region, but... So I think the higher it is, it gives it a smoothness. But then that can be quite boring. If you add octaves, you will get more detail. Let me show you. So it's quite like rocky. If I lower the octaves, you'll see it'll keep sort of the basic shape. You see that? So just for a large smooth hill, this is nice. If you go up to 2 or 3, it adds another layer of detail on what you've already got. Go to 4, it'll add another layer on top of this. Back to the code. So that was the octaves. They're your tools. But the function itself, it's generating a height map. So it's just generating some noise. And I think it's a GLM, yeah, GLM function. So simplex, it's called simplex noise. Simplex noise. Simplex noise for terrain. So I just looked at how to make terrain, I think ChatGPT, and I went to sort of mainstream videos first. Actually, I think I did a mainstream regular YouTube tutorial, and then it was just quite simple. So it just gave me it suggested the octaves to add different layers. So this seems to be, this is the grid size, so 128 by 128. Yeah, and it's just generating the land basically. So there's 2 types. What you saw was based on the angle. Yeah. So then you could just say, maybe you've done it in your own engine, but you could just say if it's flat, it's grass. If it's steep, like almost 90 degree, it could be like a cliff face. But that only blended into 2. That blended into 2. Yeah, that only blended into 2. But then I have something else based on height. So you could have like grass at the bottom, and as you get higher, it doesn't have to be steep. As you get higher, it could be sand and different things. I'll show you now. Actually, the engine's still up, isn't it? So this blending just, I think that just affects 2 textures. So where it's steep, you can see it's sandy, but you just change that to a rock. But I think I had something like, so grass, and then what would this say? Cliffs maybe. And then snow. So those 2 that blend, I think that's only a particular one. Yeah, so the blending was only ever, I think, your first 2 textures. No, so it seems your blending is I added the blending after. So initially it was just this. So this was your layered, and then you had to generate thresholds here. I don't know if it's still there. Yeah, and you have like a blend factor. So this was more naturalistic. So there's different textures that are loaded. Maybe if I turn the water off, it might help us as well. This is like the smoothness. But I think there's another texture in there somewhere that I loaded. And this bit of code got messier. And then I just got, I guess, I got a bit more competent. I don't think I've used this little function for some time. But this is stating your start and finish points for each layer. And then this is how smooth or how harshly it blends in. But I believe there's another texture there somewhere hiding. Let's get some fog in. And you can obviously see that I've just downloaded a file name or a file of a texture from Google. I think my favorite tool, I'll show you in 2 seconds if you're still around. Yeah, it's definitely took me a bit. What do I need to change? Let's get some more naturalistic. So the other day I was just moving the sky parameter, and now the sky is moving too fast. My favorite tool at the minute, I think it's working, is the terrain edit tool. Here. That text is really annoying. I'm not used to having the text on. But this will give you direct access just to, so we've just generated terrain, but this will let you just go in and sculpt it directly. So you choose your brush, a square brush. You choose the size. This tool is a bit messy, but the concept's in. And then you would just click. Like you can see the arrow is not so great. And then also we've got a window here, which is like a real-time. So as you're changing it, you can see your effect in real time. You can move that window, or you can make it bigger. Create the window again. So now we've got a bigger, I guess it's another view. And then I've got a bit of a history. So forward and backward. But then if we go back to here, you can see how this is working. Because you can't really see the texture. This gives you... But then we can press number 2, give it a new name. And the different size, and create another buffer. And now we have a second view. There obviously, it's real time at the minute. But what you can do is press enable custom view, create the FBO. And now the newest one. I gave it the same name so it overrid the other one. But now that's static. So you could have a few different angles as you're sculpting. Circle or flatten. To be honest, flatten is the best thing for this at the minute. You can choose the impact and the size. And just flatten the terrain out somewhat. But I don't think it's harsh. I think it can still make it like kind of natural. It looks bad because of, you see the square in the sand. Most of my texture files are fine. Get rid of the views. And our fog needs to come in a bit. And be fog color. There we go. But yeah, if that was grass, for example, it's just a bit more natural. It's not perfect, but that's flattened it out quite nicely. And then the other day we added a little, so if I press save terrain here, this button here, and now if I go again and create a new one, I can just actually press load. Quite simple, but and there you go, it's just gone back. So that loaded from file actually. That saved it to Windows. So if I reset the engine, it's saved in file. And that's just what I've been working on. I guess that's the last 5 days. So if we do that, we can just load, and there you go. It just saves the vertices and a few other things to Notepad, a text file. Where did my fog machine go? Yeah. What else is there? I did some river tools, but I think I moved away from it. So if you press generate river a few times, it's just really ripped up the terrain a lot. Let me put the water back in. But all it's done, it's just basically deformed. So that was just something I was looking at. So that's probably something to fix. Probably a river tool would be better than it. I can just handcraft it. But yeah, that was just I don't want to say it failed. That was learning. I can't remember anything that I learned on that, but it was learning at the time. Let's load that terrain back. What else was there? I can't remember. Widen river. Cave. That just generated an hole, basically. It's like it basically drops a bomb. There's physics. There's a physics engine. I should have just pressed load there. Can you import height maps? No, I guess not. I guess not. From Gaia or similar. But it'd be quite simple. I think it'd be very simple because the function that I've shown you on the code, on the noise, it rips it straight from a height map, or it saved it to a height map. So it'd probably do it in. I could probably do that in 10 minutes. I think if it's just a height map, it'd be very simple. If I just look at the code here, it saves the noise. But my engine only works so far on a cube, so like if it's 10 by 10 or 20 by 20, it should have to be like a cube. But the player wouldn't notice anyway. And this just sends what it's generated into a height map. So you just load it up. It'd be like 10 lines of data. But I think now I've got some parts moving. So I got stuck on animation for like 2 weeks. And then, because I came away from the project for 2 months, I got stuck for 2 weeks. And then I was like, I'm just going to add some fun features. So text, fog. And I'll probably just fix animation off stream. I don't know if there's anything else to show. Oh, there's a debugger here. So the top, you might have seen that earlier. So it's jumping shaders, it's telling us what shader it's loading. Got a font size tool, so we can take shaders off. We can take info off. We can pause it. This is so we're not going to the console like all the time, and it's just nice to. It was good fun. Async. Load a 3D model. It might crash. Tends to work though. Okay, so we've loaded the house. And then we'll add some light. So now we have 2 light sources. They only interact with the models, so that those 2 lights, they're given colors, won't interact with the terrain. It's a different shader. That's very easy to change. Let me add some more lights. And we'll move them over here and make them stronger. So we just added 3 purple lights. We'll rotate the model. And then I have also a material editor. So this only pops up when you have a 3D model, and then you choose. Let's have a look. So I can make your individual components. You can make transparent. You can change how the light behaves, different colors. But of course, it's got a texture, so you don't have as much power in how it looks. And then what else? The plane. So you can just remove the plane. Of course, we can place it in the world. So the reason I've incorporated this in quite a bad way, just the tools on it, I just wanted the code in the back ends, and that needs to be changed. So when we click the house, we can drag it up the X, Y, and Z instead of these sliders here. But that was just a quick way to see if my concepts were working. But yeah, you can kind of see how being stuck on animation has caused a lot of problems. Well, it's just held things up. I'm not stuck forever. I just don't have. I'm not ready to face animation. I know it's a one-day job, and you could do 5 things in one day. Also the lights, I have different types of lights. And I can hide them from being rendered. So you can't see the light balls now. You just see the effect. I can remove some lights. Put some blue lights in the scene, very strong ones. I have another light tool that, so I can grab them and place them as well. There we are. So we can turn, I think, a directional light. If we turn that off, let's have a look. We can make them stop where they are and then move them along. This is moving a light somewhere, but I think it's out of the picture. Yeah, I don't know which one is moving. Let's change the color of that red one to green. I think it's inside the house, green. There we are. Purple, white. And we can move it. Or we can change the type. Say it's not directional and it just goes on a random course. And we can hide them. And that was just to test lights. And we can delete the house. Yeah, that's right. Once you get a few more things in, like the reason animation is annoying that I ain't got it in yet is because, I mean, you want your character walking around, you want your trees blowing a little bit. But there's also a physics engine, but it's not so easily to demonstrate. Where are we? View physics engine. Things just die when you do that. So I'm working on a laptop, and the laptop is in like slow mode because of the noise. But let me see if I can just show you the physics. Get rid of the water and the grid and the sky and the terrain. Will it load? I'm not sure if it is rendering the physics physically. So this is just like a debug mode, so you can see it. But what we can do is follow character. 1 second. So here is the coordinates of the player character. If I press follow character, I am now rotating as if I'm the character, but it looks like he's at -4, yeah. So I can change the character's location by here, press this, set location, and then follow him. So now I'm the character falling, as you can see. But am I gonna fall and land on the ground? Yes. Okay, so now I'm the player character, I don't need to be clicking. And then just here we can give the, so we've got a keyboard set up like a WASD, give some force and some angular damping, I think less friction. I think it's just for speed. I don't know if this works still. Yeah, okay, so I'm moving forward with instead of WASD, because that's to move the game engine, I use TFGH. And now, if I come out of that, see if we can see it. Do physics engine. Ah, there we are. So it is drawing it. Yeah. I'm not sure what happened there. It might have had a view distance, so that only draws it when you're next to it. But yeah, that's the physics representation. I think I should check actually. I would say it's 6 months work. What did I say? 6 months. It's, yeah, maybe it's 5 or 6 months work, but across a year, for example, before 2 weeks ago, I didn't do anything for probably 3 months. I was traveling, and then I got stuck in the Middle East in the war. I got stuck in the war, boys. And so when I came home, I was here for a while, and then when I came home, I thought I was just being lazy, but then as I started to recover from the war, I realized I needed the time out. And then I streamed for my first time. If you look on the channel, you'll see maybe it might say 2 or 3 weeks ago on YouTube. Subscribe. But then before those 2 or 3 weeks, there was like it would have said 3 months ago, and you'll see that I'm in the Middle East. So yeah, I had a time out there. Yeah, what I want to do, I want to see if I go back to the corner, let's see if it renders now. Yeah, it's going to work this time. I don't know what changed. Okay, so what I can see has happened is it's generated the physics engine again and again and again. There's more than one physics engine here, and it's not lined up with. But that should be a grid that just perfectly matches the terrain, because the terrain you see isn't the physics engine. That's a picture. It's just an illusion. But then this mesh you can see, that's the. Some of you will know this anyway, but that's the real. That's where the math happens. It is the player connecting with those lines, then create boundaries and collisions. And that's done by Bullet Free, a physics engine. So it's not the easiest thing to bring the physics engine in, but I didn't create the physics engine because I didn't want to learn maths for 2 years to do that. No, I probably started learning C++ maybe 5 or 6 years ago. I consider myself a junior programmer, legitimately. I keep pressing that button. Yeah, I appreciate it. It was good to have a chat, and you reminded me of what's in my engine, to be honest. I need to do a video just to kind of maybe promote it instead of just a live stream. Good night. Okay, I'm just gonna press stop on Visual Studio. I could have just turned my laptop onto gaming mode and it would have. Okay, so what we're gonna continue with is trying to implement some custom text. What did we call it? FT. So to give a user interface for when we create text objects. Now, one of my rules is when it's a user interface, I will just use ChatGPT, because it's like HTML, right? When you've done it that many times, it's just so easy. Do you want to waste an hour? So I will give, let me bring ChatGPT on the screen as well. Appreciate it, man. It feels good to get some feedback as well because, like I say, I consider myself a junior. And then what you're looking at is just a lot of junior things like a bit of a texture, a bit of a sunlight, a bit of a height map, a bit of a terrain editing tool, but you throw all that together and it becomes something more, obviously. So that's when I say I'm a junior, I'm not being like ironic, like I am. But also all these things, you just learn a few things at a time. And you forget as well. Does anybody forget? So I think I might just show my ChatGPT workflow. Let's have a look. Shout out ChatGPT, all the students in the room. Okay, ChatGPT. We're going to add a UI to a text wrapper. And then what we will do is we will show ChatGPT how it creates messages. This is how a message is created. Here is the constructor. Let us create MGUI tools for each parameter, such as the message, font name, sizes, and location to draw to screen, the true or false, which is whether we think we will change that message. It will get the rest. No. Okay, it's back. It's back with me now. Yeah, no, that's pretty good. Struct. Okay. Because I'm familiar with some of the API, I'm just making sure it's message parent. What's the struct for? Unknown name of the struct. Okay. Where's the code at? Draw UI, was it? So now it's just a case of where's the best place to put these tools. And what have we just done? Fog. Where would we put text? It's going to be its own window. Matrices. Yeah, before matrices works. Matrix 3. Add light. Yeah, this can be fine. Create text message. This is where we need pointers and some place, some sort of database for our messages. So would we say like text, create text message. And what was message buffer? Static chart. So it wants a string. Oh, it needs. It wants the free type. What? The instance name free type. Okay. Free type. Like here. So what's wrong with that? And then what we do after is create the text message. I think it's mixed things up a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, it has. And then this is where we want text object dot create text message. First is the message, so the message buffer, right? And then the start. And the start Y. And then the font path. So this is here. It will ask us to type in where the font path is, and then it will send it to this function which creates some writing for the screen based on the path. Font size. These variables need to move elsewhere though. And then we'll just say false. Oh, they're static, so I think they can stay there. and then we will push back screen text dot push back text object, and then we need to create a vector of text items. Vector of text, what do they call it? Screen text. So a vector is like a collection, so we'll put them all in here. And now so put them all together. We have to put them all together because we don't know how many that the user will create, basically. And then you'll have a for loop. Is less than, what was it called? Screen text dot size. Plus plus. And then we will go screen text. Draw messages. I ain't done a for loop in a while. Shall we see where it breaks first? It might just break on the user interface first. Right. Okay, let's see where those new tools are gone. Here. So messages. I forgot shift turns. Hey chat. And we'll put it at 250 by 250. The font path is just Arial.TrueType font. And then you're not going to miss it. Create message. Boom. Look at that. And then if you just make the font 200 and move the X along. I think that's a crash. Let's see what the console says. Message index is greater than message.size. I think that would do it. That was the problem. It might not fix it, but that was an error. Because Each text has its own amount of messages. So let's just, where was that? So we'll just put hey hey, and then we'll call it 50. Did that crash from the start? Could not open font. Oh, I didn't type the font name. It really shouldn't crash, but he's done that to be safe. I forgot to type Arial. But what we'll do is do a font path. So I think it should just start with the name in now. Might be wrong. Excuse me, I need some water. Okay. Test. Yeah, error's already there. So there's test, and then if we just make it 24, I think it's gonna work. Let's just try. There we go. I'll try one more. I think this will bring it down a bit. Yeah, there you go. Sweet. Can you guys see this? Yeah, I think you can. So then we want font colors and all sorts. And animations. And then we'll add a little button at create message just to delete. Let me shut that down now. I'll add a button that just removes all the text. Delete messages. And when you press that button, it just takes the database and clears it. Yeah. Sweet. Save. So any coders in the house working on anything? Or am I just surrounded by bots? You never know with these algorithms. So I've added text and fonts. And let's just bottom left, I have my to-do list. Put a line through that now. Yes, somebody's in the house. Are you following that? 2 hours and only 1 sub. My charisma's dipped because of actually this music. What is that? I blame the music. I did a different track list today, and I've only just heard it. I'm so busy. Here we go. I'll put my usual one on. It brings all the subs in. Hey, if nobody wants to subscribe, hit like, and it just opens the algorithm. I don't like to ask. Maybe I'm a bot though. Hard to prove humanity to a skeptic. Maybe I'm a bot. What do I want to look at next? This, I need to get a 3D element too. I need to make the text 3D. Okay, I'm just going to get some water because my throat's quite dry. But let me just put something on screen. Where are we? Text. I appreciate that a lot. And also, what brings you here? Okay, I'll be back in a few minutes. Yo, yo, yo. Oh, it's cold in here. Well, you go for a snap break and everybody leaves. There we go. The home is back. My bad. I changed it when I went away and I forgot to change it back. By the way, so this is about how it was before. Maybe the music's a bit louder. Okay, so now, is that about right? Or maybe the music's still too loud. I do like a bit of music, but you have to be able to hear. Cool. So tell us a bit more about your project. So I think I'm at the thing now where I'm ready to kind of sign off, but what I've noticed is that when because it feels different when you're on a stream coding, when you're not on a stream, you can kind of just keep going a little bit more. So I think now what I do is I just say the stream's sort of finished, but I'm probably just going to stay another 30 minutes and just sort of dial it down without any sort of, not necessarily a goal. I'll just look through the code, but let me just run the engine. Let's see, I tweaked something, didn't I? What did I change? Oh, the delete button. Yeah, so I need 48 more subscribers. I think I've got 100 in the last week. And 48 more, and I'll be a tier 1 YouTube partner. Mr. Beast is sweating. I think what I can do is start to remove this text on the screen as well. So I've got our own system now. Hi, this is a test. Delete messages. Let's see if it will come back. Well, I don't know where I'm gonna go with it yet. So right now I'm just enjoying doing something that resembles an early kind of game engine. But then I think I will make my game in the engine, and then it'll become more game based. And so some of that, I don't know if some of that will become like hard coded, so it'll be like a hybrid. So I'll hard code it in C++ in Visual Studio. Yeah, I was thinking about Lua, but I don't know much about that. But I've seen a similar project. What's it called? Sapiens, which is like a civilization simulation. And I'd like to sort of copy off what he's done just to get going, and because that's a way of testing the engine. But I guess I didn't need to say it like that. Almost to make like an Age of Empires kind of game without combat, and just have a few features. Let's get rid of those messages. Get a few things going. But I think I know he used Lua to bring in modding for the community. And so it interests me how that works. But you might, I think it sounds like you might know more than me in that area. Ah, there it is. I couldn't find my tools for the terrain. Here we go. Yeah, maybe I need something that generates water, because I have water here, but it's just basically a few tiles. So maybe I can just make some tools that just throw up a few tiles and you sort of can move them around, because that should be quite easy. What's it called? Water tile. So does that mean that I could type code within my engine? I mean, I know you can do this in some ways, but what is that what you're describing? So I could have a window within my world with my interface, and then I could script there, and so I could put my game logic in there. And is that what Lua solves? Or is it like sort of like runtime, like routines that jump between functions? I don't know much about this subject. That's all I know. I almost out to ask a question. But yeah, I want to see how how I'm creating water tiles. Seems pretty simple then. Just creating an instance and it's X, Y, and Z. So does that mean Lure is something I add into my engine via Visual Studio, and then the engine is able to take Lure code in, basically? Yeah, for sure. So Lure wouldn't be, I wouldn't be typing Lure in Visual Studio, I don't think. Is that what you're saying? I think at some point I'm gonna like have to really sit down and look at the engine and maybe even start again, or give it a really good refactoring, because this is my first 3D project and then there's just errors everywhere, or at least structure issues, code I don't use anymore. I don't remember what all this was for. Add texture from FBO. If I make those bigger, is that going to make my water bigger? Because if so, I don't need more water tiles. Quad width, quad height. I don't think it is. I know this talks to the shader. I don't think it was that simple. My water's gone. My snack break's gone. So was this channel just recommended on YouTube? Like the next in the playlist? Or on the home screen, I guess. Is that more water? I don't really think it is. So I'll just change these variables here. Yeah, I think that is the size of the water. Then obviously the point being you only need one tile if that's it. And then maybe you just have a plumb line, like a water table, a level at where the water's at. But then you need other approaches as well for like rivers and even just ponds, because that's not necessarily going to work. Because you'd want them at different levels. Nice. Oh, that's just I think I've got an error that you can't see. Just some sort of visual. Yeah. Is that changing? I feel like that doesn't represent 5,000 units. Definitely not. Also, I think what's happening is that the water tide is getting bigger, but maybe not the ripples are not working. No, I think it is, but maybe you can't see the ripple because there's nothing reflected, like literally nothing. I'm just looking at your channel. I think you've got some video from 13 years ago. Is this something you did? Let's have a look. Drone. So maybe that is a simulation of something real. Not sure if he's still around, but that looked cool. I think I can move the terrain down. Oh, it's crashed. I've not used that tool in a while. That's for sure. Let me just see if I can push past the crash. No. Oh, actually, the tool works fine, but then it moves the physics engine down as well as the visual, the terrain, and that's what crashed. Probably because I was trying to make the physics engine go minus. Maybe it doesn't understand that. Why would I have something at minus 0.x and y? The quad width and the quad height. I need to take a look at the water shader. I think the clip distance is used for things that are below and above. And for the reflection and refraction. Our scaled position is what? Times by 6. Why did I go times by 6? It would just be nice if I can quickly just put water everywhere. Wicked. Is that your software? Is that your simulate? I think even though I'm making a game engine, I think simulation is my passion, which is why, or at least my side hustle passion. I don't think I describe it as my passion. It's just good fun. And so if I make a game, it will be like a God Simulator style game. Okay, so what I can see now is just different. And what's strange here is I think the reflections from the sun are the same on each. So I only need one tile, I believe. Is that the sun position? What is that light? Might be one of these. So this is just a product of not having touched this bit of code for a long time. Yeah, I can see I'm breaking things with those new numbers. Probably because they're drawn on top of each other. Let's look underneath. That'll be why. Nice. You might have subscribed because somebody just did 10 minutes ago, but if not, feel free to stick around and come and give us some wisdom every few weeks. Yeah, that's really cool. Are you still a student or? No, so that was 13 years ago, right? I mean, you could be onto your second doctorate by now. Yeah, that fixed it. Okay, easy. So really, I just need one tile of water. I don't need to add. But then I'll add tiles that exist at different altitudes, different Ys. That's cool. I don't like to tell people I'm impressed often, but you gotta respect math. I think on principle, I don't like to be impressed by intelligence. 'Cause I know some bad people who are intelligent, but you gotta respect it. When you know how hard it is, and I'm stuck on animation. I got stuck on animation. And so I started incorporating other things into my engine to avoid it. So good for you. Problem I'm gonna have here is, for some reason when I make the terrain bigger, it goes higher. Let's get rid of the water. How did you feel about that? Is it kind of your main project where you might go back to it, or have you've been living since and you've been producing since? So this is my editing tool. Although I think it only works in the original. So the original grid size of the world was 128 by 128, and then I use those numbers to generate some sort of coordinate system, which you'll see here. So I think anything beyond 128, 128 won't be shaded accurately. Yeah, look, beyond a point everything just goes pink. But initially this was a tool, well it still is, I'll show you the original version. So if I go small, and I just need to change the 128 in my shader. Are you working in your field now? And so this allowed us to just choose a brush size and then maybe flatten. And you want a bigger brush. So just to directly edit the terrain instead of using the noise functions. And go back to where's my smoke machine? Need some fog. Let's bring it in. Oh, let's first turn the fog on. Yeah, it's hard to fall into your passion, I think. But maybe that still is your passion. Or like it can touch on your passion. So kind of like me, this is my simulation. But I need to refactor it. I don't know what it will be. This might just be my, as I said to the guys earlier, I don't think he was in the channel, but I'm just a junior. I consider myself at a junior level. You put a few things together and it builds into more of a, I don't know what's after a junior level. It's not senior for me. So I'm just too messy with my code. But this might, maybe it will get me a job one day. I mean, easily a junior, but yeah, well said, or well put. Yeah, so this fog I added to the engine yesterday and the day before. That's a bit more accurate. Do you have a family? Push the fog factor back in the distance. What colour is fog? Is it blue or is it just, I think it's just grey, isn't it, really? Looks better underneath, I think, the game. I think that's bedtime for me. Hopefully I wasn't paused for too long there. I think it was just when I moved the mic, but bedtime for me. And yeah, I'll see you all in the chat again another time. Good night. I think most of you it's still good evening.